Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division in the Pacific Cup. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You have a box there in the on the bottom right that you can click to subscribe. Also, to get the ultimate tournament text guide to crush master tournaments all over and over again, then you subscribe to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link in the description down below. Find the other playthroughs and much more content for free on golfclashtommy.com. So here on the right hand side you will see the info box for every hole. There you have elevation, which I have tweaked a little bit to suit the adjustments, so it doesn't have to be the true elevation that I do suggest, but I do suggest a whole package, a whole adjustment, that the elevation obviously is a part of that adjustment. Then we do have the ball that I do think is going to be the most valuable one, combined with the club that I think is going to be a key club for that specific hole. Make sure you comment in the comment section below, and as always when it comes to Master Division, there isn't much content out there, so if you're playing in Master and if you have questions, don't hesitate to email us or comment in the comment section below and I will be there to help. So let's go with hole number 1. For hole number 1 here, we are going to play with either the 3-point ball or the Centurion here. We do want to have power 3. And the thing that I'm looking for is to have the red ring by the rough line there to the left, using 7 bars of topspin and as much side spin to the left possible. Now we're going to adjust for a maximum distance plus 10%. And once we have adjusted, we are not going to push up our target into max. We're just going to let it be where it is, and then we're going to apply approximately half a ball of curl outside the adjustment ring to the left, and trying to get the ball into a consistent length all the time, but to make sure that we do have a short iron towards the pin. You can play this one as well with Apocalypse level 5, but make sure that when you do play with an Apocalypse level 5 that you push up your target to max, as you can only have 6 bars topspin with an Apocalypse level 5 compared to a level 6, 7 and 8. Now for the approach. Now we're gonna go for a rough bump. Might look very scary, and it is a little scary, but in the end this is the absolute best way to approach this pin. I'm adjusting, so I'm having around 1 to 1.5 bar topspin and max side spin to the right, and you can see that I leave the bounce in the rough very high, or very close to the fairway or fringe. The reason I do that is because when we take our shot now, we're going to automatically fall further back down, as when we adjust from the rough down to the green, we lose a little distance. So to be able to bounce in the center of the fairway, we need to over adjust there from the start instead of having to push up in the end. So it's a way to just get away from having to push up in the end. That's where we have the adjustment. So we are there. We're gonna get that one dialed in. I do believe hole number 1 is going to be an extremely important one into the opening round in the weekend round for a pretty simple eagle. For hole number 2, we're going to start by playing with an Apocalypse as a driver. We need the 240 yard distance, which is Apocalypse level 5 minimum. Now we're going to play with 7 bars of topspin and as much side spin to the left possible. And we're going to make sure that we do start at the plus 16 yard mark, with the second bounce showing clearly it's going to be in the center of the fairway on top of the rough. Then we adjust for a maximum distance plus 10%. And then we're gonna go with a tiny bit of overpower, not much, but just as you can see the ball wobble a bit. Even though you might have a 12 mile per hour wind with a dead ball, and you will see that the ball guideline be cut away by the tree, don't be alarmed by that. You will still not hit the tree and have no problem to bounce over like that. Great left and great right is still fine, so have that in mind. Second shot, now we're going to play with a sniper, trying to find a spot that works for us. This shot here in the end becomes extremely bad, but at least you can see there is a funnel there, and with a bad great right and a bad adjustment, this one is going to be on the green, but nowhere near an albatross. So what do we think about hole number 2? Definitely a possibility to dial in, because we can play a straight first shot, a straight second shot, and then yardage notes is very valuable, and that is something that I'm obviously going to work with in the updated text guide, so make sure you get a copy of them yourself. In the end, we're gonna get this one way right, and we're going to have to continue to work to get this one dialed in. And this is going to be a good possibility to making an albatross here from distance. Don't forget to over adjust 10% for the second shot, not because it's the true elevation of the shot, but because it's going to apply and help you to compensate for the wind push that you're having with that strong crosswind. Hole number 3 for us, we're going to play with a sniper and a power 1 wind 5 ball. You can play this shot with a wind 5 power 0 ball as well if you want to. Now we're going to start by finding the position. Make sure that you have the ball guideline stretched out so it rolls towards the pin with your sniper. Then after that you're going to apply 2 bars of backspin and approximately half a bar of side spin to the left. And then we're going to use a pull angle which is going to be towards 11:59 here for us, and it is very important that we do so, otherwise we're going to most likely get different type of results. In the end, we do have a wind angle change here, and that is something that is going to be extremely difficult for me to explain here in a very short video. But if your wind arrow is pointing more towards right, we need to, if so, go with a little bit more side spin. If it points more straight or more to the left, we need to stay away from using side spin to the left overall. But that is something we get by getting the guides there. I can explain it even better for you, but a very good chance here on hole number 3. And don't forget mid distance plus 20%. I was close to forgetting about that. So mid distance 20% of your club. For hole number 4, there is plenty of approaches out there, but I'm choosing to show you a very, safe and consistent approach. First, we're gonna play with the quarterback. You can obviously play with the rock as well, but I started with the quarterback and therefore I continue with the quarterback as well. White ring by the rough line, 3.5 bar topspin and as much side spin to the right possible. Then we're going to adjust for a maximum position with 5% over adjustment. Now, no overpower whatsoever. We're just gonna play it very, very simple. And this shot here is going to take you to approximately 300 yards all the time if you hit perfect. You get that little slope there and the ball is gonna fall down. And in this case, we get to 299. And that's kind of where we're gonna end up. Somewhere between 297 and 302. Second shot, I'm going to play with the Guardian, and I play at a spot where the ball guideline is kind of stuck, like a funnel type of situation. All about half a bar of backspin combined with 2.5 bar side spin to the right. And now we're going to play with a medium distance and a 10% over adjustment here. And obviously, when you play with a wood club compared to a long iron and a short iron, it's easier to drop a short iron than a long iron. But I do believe that the drives being needed to be made if you're playing with a short iron or a long iron for the approach is going to be way harder than this approach here. So if you do want to push it harder, then you can do so by playing a different drive. Maybe play to the left and do for the rough bump. But this shot is going to be very good, which has had several drops with it, so it was not just a lucky one there. In the end, so hole number 4, safe approach, might not what you thought of, but I really enjoyed this shot. Hole 5 is weirdly enough my favorite hole in this tournament. So we're going to play with the quarterback, and we're going to play with max backspin and 3.5 bar side spin to the left. And we're playing with a Wind 5 Power 1 ball. We do need at least to have side spin 2 because we're gonna play with 3.5 bar side spin. Once you have added the spin, look at the bottom of the blue ring being slightly down into the sand with the ball guideline going through the hole. Very important. And then the last piece of the puzzle is that you're going to use an 11:59 pull angle by adjusting maximum distance plus 25%. And I cannot promise that, but I know with a perfect this one is gonna be in or it's going to be extremely close. Boom! For hole number 6, we're going to use the driver that gives us the most distance. 6 bars topspin, and we put ourselves with the white ring by the rough line there to the right. And here it's perfect that we're using 6 bars. This because we do have Apocalypse level 5 that only have 6 bars topspin. Then Apocalypse level 6 and above does have more. And now we're going to play with a Pinecone ball, which is the same stats as the Centurion that we also are playing with. The only difference is the side spin there, obviously, but at least the power 4 win 4 power 3. We're gonna go with approximately 50% in overpower using an over adjustment of 10%. And you can see there as well that I'm suggesting a 3-point ball as well. For those of you having those type of ball, you can use the same type of shot there and do the same type of result. It's the only thing that's going to be a difference is obviously that the wind, it's going to be lower. But as we are not going to use much side spin, that ball is going to be extremely valuable. Now I have a B52 towards the pin. And we're going to be very close here into max distance of our club. Make sure that you let the ball guideline go a little bit more through the hole. Give it approximately 1 green square through the hole to be more exact. Then we're going to use, in that case, 2 bars of side spin to the left. And I'm not going to use any elevation whatsoever. And we're going to get the ball to bounce into the rough and then roll up towards the pin. We're just going to miss that one on the left hand side, but this is going to be an extremely good opportunity for an albatross. But the hard part on this one is actually to hit perfect for your approach shot. For hole number 7, we're going to start by playing on a very thin fairway position, but here we need to at least hit the ball great, and that is something that I do believe everyone should manage doing. If we do hit a good shot, we will have to suit ourselves, because if we're gonna lay up on the left, the shot from there is not gonna be easy. It's gonna be extremely difficult, and now at least going on the right hand side, we're going to give ourselves a nice certain approach with either the Thorn, Hornet, or even with a long iron if we don't get enough distance. We aim with the center of the bullseye on the fairway with 7 bars topspin, and we're using as much side spin to the right possible, adjusting max with a 10% over adjustment, then no overpower. So we're just gonna take a normal shot, even though it is tempting to go with overpower. Second shot, we're going to play with 2 bars of topspin. Could sometimes be less, sometimes be a little bit more, but we're looking for the white ring to be approximately 1 ring from the bunker there. And from this position, we're going to play maximum distance plus 15% with our Thorn. But have in mind here though that we need to have the position correct, we need to have the pull angle correct, and this is going to be a hard one to get dialed in when we're playing here from distance. So in the end, we get ourselves to the left here of the pin, missing approximately 1 green square, a little bit over adjusted, but we're gonna get back to that and see if we can't dial it in the next time. For hole number 8, we're going to play a no movement shot with the rock, and I want you to have at least the rock level 7 to play this shot. Don't move your target until you adjust your rings, and that is what a no movement shot is. 2.5 bar backspin, and then we're going to adjust for medium distance with a 20% over adjustment to get correct. And then we adjust and we're gonna take our shot, and you're going to notice that this ball is gonna come in very nicely. If you do have a wind that is below 8 miles per hour, I would suggest to go with a click of a side spin to the right to be spot on and compensate for the less wind that you're gonna have if so. For hole number 9, we're going to play with a power 4 ball. I would say that is very important because especially the second shot will require distance. I'm going to use 7 bars topspin and as much side spin to the right possible. Blue ring by the rough line. Have in mind that playing with an Apocalypse level 5 or level 6 will make half of the blue ring go inside the rough there to the right. But the mark that you're looking for is the plus 7 yard mark. Then we adjust for a maximum distance with no elevation. Push up your target to max, and then we're gonna go with full curl to the right with a tiny bit of overpower. So, and obviously, If you do play with a dead ball that has more wind, you go with a little bit more overpower. If you do have an Apocalypse 5 that only gives you 6 bars of topspin, you go with also a little bit more overpower. This because you do want to gain as much distance as possible for the second shot. So to mention, even though it wasn't shown, the yardage of the drive was 381. That leaves us with a sniper. And here I honestly need to say that the Cataclysm is a viable option as well. This because if we do have a strong wind, or we might are using like a power 4 wind 3 ball, like a dead ball, and then we might go in between clubs if we're not getting the distance correct, and that's gonna be hard in the end. So now I'm using spin to just go towards the pin, maximum distance, and here with a 10% over adjustment. The problem here though is that I'm not having enough topspin here, so I'm falling short, even though the line looks really good that with topspin we would be coming very close towards the pin. In the end, this hole number 9 is going to be a tough one, and thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Master Division in the Pacific Cup. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and if you do want to get the ultimate tournament text guides, you make sure you try them out on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link in the description down below to subscribe. Good luck.